Well, hello everybody. Good to see you. Beautiful day we've been having here in Madison. Unbelievable. Just incredible. Um, so today we're gonna focus on one of the main elements of Qigong, which is visualization, and we all know what that is. Um, uh, Psychologists tell us that there's a percentage of the population that does not visualize very well, like 20% or something, and uh, and it's not a problem because there's a deep and clear relationship between uh, seeing. So visualization is internal seeing. So there's a relationship between seeing and feeling. Okay, and the Taoists or the Qi practitioners suggest that um, everything that we see in the world resonates for us in our body, um, probably subconsciously, um, but it can be consciously. So if we're listening to music, for instance, that's an audio sort of stimulation, and the body is responding to it. And actually, the body responds to everything that the senses take in, or that even that the mind creates, comes up with. The body has a resonance with everything. So when we say there's no separation between mind and body, yes, that's very true. And in terms of consciousness, we share the ability to feel with all living things. Okay? So this is I'm just setting this up as an intellectual construct for the universal quality of qi. So a tree, for instance, can feel. Uh, the roots can feel. They try to go where the water is. The leaves turn toward the sun. They know where the light and the heat is. The trees live by feeling. That's their main sense. Uh, they don't probably see or hear in the way we do because they don't have those organs, but they definitely feel. And so if a tree feels, all animals feel. The animals have to feel, really, in order to survive. Even a one-celled animal or plant has to um, feel their environment and try to optimize their environment so they can survive. So the sense of touch, a sense of feeling, is a basic and universal element of consciousness. Okay, that we share with all living beings, the ability to feel. So all this is just to put this visualization into context. So we're going to use visualization as a means to get to feeling. Okay, if that makes sense, right? Because uh, that's when we get the closest to the essence of what chi is. It's not through seeing, it's through feeling, but it's deeper than feeling. Okay, so this is sort of the basis for this the statement that chi, what they say, chi follows the mind, and that means our our attention itself, our attention itself carries energy with it. Okay, so you can ask my dog. I mean, if I look at him, he's happy. If I look away, not so much, right? So just this intentionality carries with it a consciousness that we're affected by and that affects other people. So when we're going to be, going through many familiar moves and so on, but we're going to be focusing on visualizing, and then we'll go into our sitting practice and do that. So we can do some standing here. Um, you know, I did that last time. I don't think any of you were there. And the time before. Yeah, Nancy, you were there? You saw it on YouTube? Oh, I can't hear you. You're muted. But uh, yeah. So raise your hand if you want to do a little bit of standing. Okay, okay. You don't care. Either way. Okay, we'll do a little because I just want to introduce it because it's such a great way to get into the felt sense of the body just by standing. So we'll do a bit of that before we do the sitting. Okay, so welcome everybody, and we'll get started. So the intentionality here is to feel the body, feel the movement, and to feel the breath. So feeling the body moving, that's the most obvious. And then feeling the breath is a little more subtle. And can you feel the stillness in the midst of this movement? And by that I mean just the posture of the body, the the verticality, the heaviness, uh, I guess the stability and the weight, because the weight of the body doesn't change, and the uprightness doesn't change with the movement. So, in a way, that's stillness. So there's a stillness here. So you can actually move the attention through those three levels. You know, the feeling the body moving, very, very good. And then while we're feeling that, not letting go of it, while we're feeling that, feeling the breath. And then the breath is harmonizing with the body moving. Okay, and then going a little deeper. So we know that the law of the universe, yin and yang, that everything arises with its opposite. So in the midst of the movement, there is stillness, which is, as I said, and in the midst of the breathing, there's stillness in the breathing too, because there's a still point at the end of the in-breath and another one at the end of the out-breath. Okay, and now going even deeper, another stillness in the midst of all of this is our intention to do this practice. Our intention hasn't changed. We're intentionally here doing this right now. And that's what's causing all of this to happen. So that's our consciousness. And the consciousness is there no matter what the body's doing. That constitutes a sense of stillness. Okay? So all of that is present. Okay, let's reduce the movement. Okay, and now we'll set the intention to battle the directions. With the breath, bowing to the east, turning to the south, to the west, north, and back. First position, above, below, so now this within dimension, this is referencing the stillness. And so once again, we can feel the body, we're aware of the body, we can feel the breath, aware of the breath. We can feel the stillness in the posture, the weight, and our intention to do what we just did, and to be here and doing this. Our intention is what directs our attention. And that is a form of consciousness, which is ubiquitous and beyond time. So that's stillness. Okay, very good, very, very good. Well, let's go ahead and loosen up the head, neck, and shoulders. And you'll notice we're both producing this movement and consuming it. So we set our intention, we're doing it, we're moving, and we're feeling it at the same time. And moving into the shoulders. So we're moving the body, and the body is responding to the movement. Maybe it's relaxing, or maybe this tiny bit of pain, but in some way, we're moving the body, and the body is responding to it. Maybe our heart rate's increasing, or whatever it may be. Okay, and folding in, and then open. And now let's, if you want to, let's add the visualization part of this, where we can feel that we're breathing in and out the nose, and then we're going to imagine we're also breathing in and out through the pores of the skin. And the light of this awareness that we're focusing by doing this visualization causes a response in the body. The body feels energized, it feels porous, feels expanded, because the body is responding to the attention that we're putting on it. Okay? And we often see this as light, or there can be uh, an oral component of this. That can be musical. There can be, you can imagine sounds if you're inclined that way. Okay. And let's do a couple more. And let's just stop just for a moment and continue now the visualization. So breathing in through the nose, and then breathing in through the bottoms of the feet, breathing in up into the lungs, and then breathing out the top of the head, and then breathing in the top of the head, breathing out the bottoms of the feet. Continue. The body is responding to the mental activity, to the visualization, and it's stimulating the body in this way and making it feel connected to the earth and to the universe. The mind can do that. So consciousness is bigger than the body. So if we extend down into the earth and come up into the body, extend up into the sky, we're within the body of consciousness of doing this. So the physical body then, always present, we can feel it standing, breathing, it's always present, and there's a felt sense of a much bigger body. Okay. And let's just, from here, let's just move into cloud hands. So wave hands through clouds. Now we're actually here, we're sensing and creating and experiencing this bigger field of consciousness around the body, all the way around, the back, front, sides. And by visualizing this, the body responds and it relaxes and opens. It's no longer being held in such constraint. The body is not separate from consciousness, which is surrounding it. It's the clouds, waving hands through the clouds, all around. And the body's responding to this sense of being enclosed, being protected, being surrounded by this awareness. Okay? And then you can make this very expansive if you want to. Expand that space more. Or you can reduce it. As you reduce it, then you're bringing the attention more into the physical body, into the posture. Okay? And then we can, if you want, we can go into Qigong where you're actually moving the qi in the body. So moving it within the body, making that orbit. And so this is being attentive to the internal organs. Okay, and then just come back to standing. And then just check in to how does the body feel? And how is the breath? And maybe smile a little bit. Okay, so we're here, we're present, we're here physically, and all of our senses are awake. And we don't feel disconnected from the environment. We feel like there's porosity to the body. Okay, very good. So let's just drop into standing position 1. Okay, so now we're aware, since the body's still, we're aware of the stillness and the movement within the stillness. So that would be the breath, or the heartbeat, and the tingling quality of aliveness, which is actually is movement. And then, of course, posture. Okay, now here we can use the visualization to start with the breath to start at the top of the head. As we breathe out, we drop down through the body and just relax it. So the in-breath is the wind-up. The out-breath, we're moving the attention down the body and relaxing it. Let's take a couple more breaths. Okay, very good. And now dipping the knees a little and coming up. So the fingers are pointing at each other, as if we're resting our elbows on a counter, just relaxed. If you like, you can do visualization breathing here. So we'll breathe up from the earth to the heart, and then breathe out the heart around both arms, and then connect this synapse here between the hands, so that we're creating this circular flow or presence. And as it goes through, it relaxes the shoulders. You may sense a connection between the hands and the heart area. You may sense a fullness, as if you're holding some big ball of light between your arms. You can imagine that the body's at the center of this, and this extends behind the body as well. So the heart is in the center of sort of a sphere. Let's take a few more breaths. And dipping the knees again. And now we come up into window to the moon. So the triangle of the fingers is right at the forehead. And we're looking through that triangle. Or if you have your eyes cast down, you can imagine looking through that. And then the moon is in the center of the hands. And the moonlight's coming into the palms and directly into the forehead. And then with the out breath, it moves down inside the body, a little more each time. Okay, so it's going directly through the head, but also through the arms. As it goes through the shoulders, it relaxes the shoulders, it carries away any tension in the shoulders. You may have to correct your posture a little bit if your body's getting a little stiff. It's fine to move a little bit, move the hips a little if you need to or whatever. You don't want to get stiff. So with the in-breath, this moonlight comes in, with the out-breath goes down. It lights up all the organs on the way down. Relaxes the shoulders. Okay, let's take a few more breaths. Okay, and dipping the knees. The next one, now this is window to the stars. So the triangle is above the crown of the head. Palms are facing up, and now we're bringing down the starlight, or they would say the cosmic light, going through the body, going through the arms. And the body's responding to this. Okay, let's take a few more breaths. And then circle the arms. And the last position, the hands are going to be continuation of the arm. Trisha Yu calls this the earth cone. And so bringing the attention way up into the cosmos, that would be the top of this cone, and then coming down and closing the body, including the body, down and directed down with the arms, down into the earth like a standing mountain. Here we can use a visualization to imagine roots going down just like a tree. Just imagine we're a tree, and then roots go down through the feet and down into the earth. And we can imagine that, and we feel them down there. Now, these roots for us are our ancestors. Okay, very good. And then not letting go of that, but also then bringing the attention up and extending through the body, out the top of the head, and up into the universe in sort of the same way, sort of like branches, only not confined, but able to, um, like light, able to go great distance in all directions. This visualization, this is our consciousness at work, doing what it does, and connecting to all other consciousness. And you can imagine that as light, if you like, or it can be sound. And so the ancients called this heaven, earth, human. And so this is the entire cosmos. And this goes behind the body too. Okay, very good. Let's take a couple more breaths. And go ahead and break your stance. The standing practice is very, very, very good, and it does relax the body. but it can cause some stiffness too. So just sort of loosen up a little bit. And of course, standing is all about stillness. So, it's a good idea before we go into sitting. If you feel like it, you can go right into sitting from standing, but you can also sort of just loosen the body up a little first if you want to. Okay, let's go ahead and bring up the stool. Okay. And as we transition into sitting, we're not just going from one posture, standing, to another, sitting. Go ahead and transition into it, settle into it. Move the body so that it's loose, comfortable. And then let the stillness just happen. I mean, the movement will slow down. And then as the body becomes still, then we can become aware of the posture. Maybe drop the chin just a little bit if you need to. Pull the shoulders back a teeny bit. And then we're aware of the movement within the stillness, which is the breath and the heartbeat. And so the vertical axis, the posture is still. Stillness. And then out of that, you can extend down into the earth. It's just an extension of the vertical axis in the body. And you can move the attention anywhere in the body. Check out the belly, chest, and so on. Neck and the head. And then when we're ready, and do what the Tibetans would call, you shoot the energy up through the top of the head like a fountain, and then it interweaves with the cosmos. Okay, and now you'll find that by getting a little bigger, you can be aware of the whole system. The sitting body here, the roots in the earth, and the extension up into the cosmos. You can be aware of all of that at once. You have to kind of step outside the body. So this is the seat of consciousness. This is the perspective of consciousness. Okay, which is bigger than all of it. So all of this visualization it's very liberating, and it's also limiting. So let's just let go of all the visualization. And then we're left just with feeling. And we can feel the inside the physical body. We can feel the physical body. We can feel out beyond it. We can feel the space in the mind. Okay, feeling is a presence of the resonance of this vast energy of presence. Feeling is just a way to be aware of it. It's not the thing itself. So we just let go of feeling. And there's just this presence. And it's safe, it's okay. We can go into feeling the physical body, we can go into feeling the heart, all this is here. We can feel out beyond the body, project it all out. Let go of the visualization. So something is sensing this feeling. Something very big. And you can experience that expanded state. You can also retract back into the body. It's totally fine. You can move the body a little bit. All this is here. Feel the breath. Okay, let's take a few more breaths. And slowly just move the body a little bit. Okay, and just sort of notice how the body feels. Okay, let's go ahead and stand now, and we'll close with a standing movement. We'll just take a very relaxed standing posture. And let's go into flying cranes with the breath. Let's reduce the movements. And just return to standing. Now let's go ahead and just visualize doing the flying cranes and feel doing the flying cranes. How exactly does it feel to imagine? And you probably can recreate the feeling with your mind, and then the body responds to that. And then with the mind, I mean, if you like, I mean, you can make the wings, the arms very, 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 very big if you want to. There's no limit. What does it feel like for a crow to fly? The crow can feel it, and we can approximate that. Okay, take a couple more breaths. Okay, let's go ahead and do our closing then. So clap one time. Make heat. Gently massage the eye sockets. And the temples. Tap the kidneys. Okay. Well, thank you for your presence. Thank you for your practice. You practice for yourself and for all others. And if you would like to fade off, go right ahead. If you'd like to stay for questions and comments, we'll do that. Okay. Questions or comments about visualization, feeling? Todd, are you taking off?
Dinner beckons.
Okay, see ya. It's quite an intense thought that our body resonates with all input. It's actually kind of mind-blowing. So everything that's happening in our environment's affecting our body. and everything that's happening in our mind is affecting our body, and vice versa. So then it becomes very possible to actually feel what, what the practitioners talk about being one with all beings. You can literally feel how a tree feels. Just try it next time you just sit quietly and look at a tree and just think, well, that tree is feeling its environment, right? I mean, we know that it is. And I'm feeling my environment. So we're both feeling. We both are experiencing this world through physical sensation. So there's kinship. There's a shared experience that we have with every living thing. It's it's actually mind-boggling, but it's just true. It's not a delusion. It's really true. My teacher Thich Nhat Hanh used to talk about talking to trees. You know, and he's a Zen master, so no one thought he was crazy. But he was talk to the tree. Why why is that not okay? I mean, you can talk to a person, or you can talk to a dog or a horse. Talk to the tree, because he knew that there was a kinship, a connection. I think the ancient people were very, very aware of that. Some of us are maybe kind of rediscovering it because we don't live in direct connection with nature as much anymore as like they used to. But yeah, it's real doable.
Uh, uh, that makes me think I was reading a book where the author was talking about feeling with your mind.
Mhm.
And I was it still struggle a little to understand exactly what he means, but I passed a dog shortly after, a dog sniffing a blade of grass just really intently. And for some reason, I felt like, oh, that's what, maybe that's what feeling with your mind is. Like,
It's
I
exactly.
don't think, yeah, yeah.
We do it all the time. It's just not usually that conscious. If we see somebody eating an ice cream cone, we feel that, right? And we may not pay much attention to it, but it affects our body and it affects our mind. This is what, when the Dalai Lama talks about sympathetic joy, I don't know if the four Brahma Viharas in Buddhism, the divine abodes, one of them is sympathetic joy. And that's what that is that you can feel the joy of it. You see a child playing out in the park or something, you can feel that. That's feeling with the mind. Exactly what you're talking about. We do it all the time. And we can feel the joy of that child who's running around or playing whatever they're doing. That empathetic resonance. And it can be pleasurable or it can be painful. But there's just no way to separate ourselves out. You know, we teach this in prison. We had a guy just in prison just on Monday. He says, well, reason I do this stuff because I don't have any empathy for anybody. He actually believed that. I don't have empathy. People must have told him that. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know who told him that. But it didn't take long to convince him that that was actually a lie. It's just not true. You know. So, because we're sentient beings. And it kind of blew him away because he had this idea about himself. You know, and it turns out to be not true. So, then you're liberated. You're not constrained by that thought about who you are anymore. That self-limiting thought. So yeah, feeling with the mind. That's interesting. What book is that, Beth?
What is it? Dimension One,
Dim,
Mary?
is that the name of the book?
Yeah.
Dimension.
Dimension 1.
Yeah. Dimension.
Okay, I'll check that out because
Yeah.
that's exactly what this is. Yeah, it's feeling is only part of it though. So the Qigong, you have to be able to feel with the mind, but that's passive, you know. But there's intentionality, which is active.
Hmm.
So you can use that ability to feel with the mind to move your qi, or to change your thoughts, or to extend your awareness. You know, that's intentionality, that's active. You know, and so you have both, and they inter-are. You know, like if you pass someone, child eating an ice cream cone, and you feel it, now you're different from what you were because your body has absorbed that, your mind and body. Now things are slightly different, you know, and so by intentionality, that's just something we happen to see, but if we choose to see something, say something beautiful, if we choose to look at something beautiful, that will change the body and change the mind. You know, so that's the other part of it, feeling with the mind, but also using the mind to direct that energy of feeling. This feeling is an energy. I mean, it's a sense. There's something to it. You know, it's electrical or something. There's something to it. You know, and so then you can receive that. You can feel it, and then you can also extend it.
And something that isn't just a concept. It's an energy that's not just, it's not a thinking as so
No.
much as a receiving of something like, and I was thinking of like feeling what the dog was feeling, but also the dog interacting with the blade of grass, like thinking with his mind. Like I was like, that dog's not sitting there thinking this grass is green and it's sharp and it's pointy, and it, like there were no concepts. He was just receiving the feeling of the interaction with the other the other formation of energy that he was encountering
Yeah,
or something.
yeah, yeah. And the dog can feel what you're feeling too. They're
Yeah.
extremely sensitive. You know, they can not only feel what they're feeling, but I mean, my dog is incredibly, I mean, down to the tiniest little movement I might make. He's just incredibly aware of it,
Yeah.
you know, and what that means. So it's not a concept. It's reality. We're in it all the time, so we can't see it, you know. But you know, like right now, you're hearing these words, and then it's affecting your neural synapses, and that's affecting your body. And I'm looking at you, and what you're doing that's affecting. This is just the way it works. It's not
Because
an
we're not
idea.
separate.
No.
Because we're not separate. We're all,
Yeah.
We're all vibing.
yeah.
We're all vibing. I love that.
Yeah.
We're all vibing. And by
Together.
extension, we're vibing with everybody else. We're
Yeah.
vibing with the people in Ukraine,
Yeah.
even though we don't know any of them,
Mm-hmm.
because they're vibing with other people and they're vibing with other, and there's no way to separate it out
Right.
at the deepest level. And yeah, and that's all. Qigong is just, they call it the way of nature. And that's just the way it is. There's a wonderful book on trees. I don't know if you've read this, about the consciousness of trees. It's recent.
Yeah, I think so. Is it called The Hidden Life of Trees?
The Hidden Life of Trees.
I think
Yeah.
so. Yeah.
Did you read that?
Yes. It's amazing. It's all of this
Yeah.
and more, you know.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, they have brains. The trees have brains. They're in their roots. They don't look like
Yeah,
ours, so we don't think they have brains. But
I read that book right around when I turned 50, and I learned about like snags, which are like the trees that are still standing, but they appear dead, but they're just still so very important to the ecosystem. And their roots, they're relaying information and helping their community, and it helped me think about getting older. And I kind of have a kinship with snags now. Whenever I see them,
yeah, yeah.
I'll be one too, I hope.
You and the woodpeckers. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
No, oh, it's so true. It's just a matter of how much do we want to be sensitive to this? And for some people, it's too much. Some people they don't have the filters, and so they can't be stimulated very much. It's too much for them, you know. And other people just bully their way through the world and don't care about anything, you know. And so then we have to regulate. Well, how much of this can I really manage, you know? So, and that changes all the time, you know. But yeah, it's all
Yeah,
true.
I'll put that book on my list. And Mary introduced me to that book, Dimension One, which I loved. It was
Okay, yeah,
really good. Yeah,
yeah,
Though you finished it. I haven't finished mine yet.
yeah.
you
That's
will.
okay.
You know how that
Yeah.
goes. But yeah, Stephen, you might know the author is Wei-Sun Liao, who wrote, I think it's called the Tai Chi Classics. Have you heard of
Oh,
him?
yeah,
He has a
yes.
studio. Yeah, so that's the guy. He's in Chicago. And he wrote this book, Dimension One, and it's very interesting.
Is there a dimension two?
I think there are, yeah, but
Yeah.
it's, I mean, Dimension, Beth, what would you say? I'm thinking like Dimension One is sort of that outside of the world of form.
It's sort of the Tao.
Yeah, it's like the Tao.
It's the Tao. It's the nothingness that is everything. That is,
Yeah.
I think, is how I would.
Yeah, like kind of vibrating in and out of form.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Yeah.
like if a molecule appears and then disappears, which is what's happening constantly. So if some little particle or subatomic particle appears and then disappears, where does it go when it disappears?
Well, yeah, I mean the
like
Buddhists,
that.
yeah, the Buddhists would say it just becomes consciousness,
Yeah.
and then form,
Mhm.
and then consciousness, and then form. It's flickering all the time.
Yeah.
Oh, so that would be consciousness.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
or awareness, or emptiness, or there's all kinds of words, boundlessness, take your
Yeah.
pick, but formlessness.
Formlessness is what kind of makes sense to me. It's like formlessness.
Exactly. That's the
Yeah.
flickering, that's the yin and yang, but that's contained within awareness, which is still.
Mm.
And he introduces two other concepts that I can't remember exactly, but Nang and Kong and Nang or something, where one is the folding and condensing of energy, and the other is the unfolding, and that's kind of the form and the formlessness.
Yeah.
That I can't remember the exact terms, but
It's all nature. It really, it's not dogma, I don't think, in my opinion. It's just a description of what is, just how it works.
it seems, as they say, sounds true.
It sounds
seems
true.
to fit,
Yeah.
you know.
The thing that, I'll just say one more thing, is that people tend to get caught in impermanence. You know, so impermanence is a basic concept of Buddhist teaching of the Dharma, that everything is impermanent. So don't cling to anything, because everything's going to change. Everything comes and goes. And it's true. I mean, it's verifiably, obviously true that everything does change. But you can get caught in impermanence too. Because what the Tao says is everything arises with its opposite. Well, so what's the opposite of impermanence? You know, and it's not permanence, because both permanence and impermanence rely on time, so they're not opposite. So what's the opposite of impermanence? Well, it has to be something that we don't have words for it. It's the Tao. It's something that just, it's a presence. It's just something that just is. It's the context in which this flickering takes place. So, yeah, we have to be aware of impermanence. Very, very important. At the same time, we have to be able to realize that there's something that's in which that arises and passes. There's something there. And that there's no word. There's no words for it. But yeah, I mean, because if you're just attached to impermanence, you can become very nihilistic. So none of this matters. It's all, the earth is going to get burned up by the sun and the sun's going to burn, so doesn't matter. Nothing matters. And that's where a lot of young kids are at right now. You know, I mean, the whole world's going to, global warming. I mean, you know, it's very, you know, you could really go into this stuff. So, you know, if you could realize the connection to everything, then that's deeper than just the impermanence, because connection remains, or boundlessness, whatever you want to call it. Thich Nhat Hanh called it interbeing. That's nice. Well, cool. Anyway, I'll look at this dimension 1.
Cool. Good.
Yeah,
I think
Yeah.
you'll like it.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All
And I
right.
got to get The Secret Life of Trees. So
Oh yeah, that's
Yeah.
just a wonderful book.
great.
Just
Well,
a
good.
wonderful book. All right.
Thanks so
Thank
much,
you,
Stevie.
All right.
Thanks for your
See you
time.
Thank
next
you.
time.
Okay,
Bye-bye.
bye. Bye, Mary.